Hey guys, how's it going? Dr. EG3 here, your coach, your mentor, your friend. Hope you're having an amazing day. Just wanted to stop by and just check on you guys, see how you're doing. As you guys may or may not know, I get the privilege, the honor of being able to work with a lot of people who are either at the beginning of their career journey or somehow in the transition. And during this phase could be very exciting, but also very stressful as they're looking to update their CVs or their resumes, to prepping for interviews and filling out applications, to all the other spectrum of where they're actually waiting for that scary anticipation of either receiving that reject letter or offer of employment. But oftentimes during this time, what I often hear this phrase about the idea of burning bridges, or I don't want to burn a bridge and I just want to make the right decision and I don't quite know how to do that, right? So I want to talk to you guys today about this idea of burning bridges. Now, before we get started, let's think about what is the intent, or what is actually a bridge? A bridge is basically a way to cross over either a body of water or some type of construction where two land masses or two areas are connected with, whether it's wood, whether it's, a sophisticated is something like the San Francisco Bridge is made with all kind of like metal and cables and things of that nature. But the basic intent is to go from one side to another. Now, I want to talk to you guys about let me tell you a quick story real quick. So there was this one person that I was working with, and, they went through the whole anticipation and they put in a couple of different applications and they were applying for jobs and they're applying for residencies, and basically they got a job offer. And they got a job offer, and they had this conversation with me much later, but they were like, well, Dr. George, I went ahead and I told the person who gave me the job offer to give me some more time because I'm actually weighing other options, and would they mind delaying and give me an extension beyond the time of when I was actually required to submit my acceptance or my decline of the offer. And they were like, what did you think about that? And I said, well, why didn't you accept the offer? And they said, well, I was trying to be honest with them and let them know that I was doing all these other options and I was considering other things. And I just felt like I needed to be transparent because, people always tell me don't burn bridges. And I wanted to be honest, wanted to be transparent. And I didn't want to burn a bridge with them by accepting the offer, but then later declining. Now, what I told the person, they were like, what do you think about that? And what I told them was, you should have accepted the offer. And they said, yes. And I let me make it even clearer. I said, would you consider working for that company? They said, yeah, I'll consider working for them because I applied. And I said, well, why didn't you make a decision about accepting the offer or declining it? And the person said, well, I didn't want to accept the offer because what happens later if, in fact, that I get a residency or another job offer that I would ultimately like. So what I'll just say is the first thing that I want you guys to consider, if you find yourself in a situation where you get a job offer or you have to make a decision, we oftentimes weigh into the decision-making process all of the other scenarios that may or may not ever happen. So the first thing is you have to remember there's oftentimes you only have to just make one decision at a time. Now, in this instance, in this scenario, the person was considering an offer, but they were also kind of thinking about the what if scenarios. What if I get another offer? What if I get a residency? What if, and that should not necessarily be in your calculus because right now in the moment, it's not a part of the decision-making process. You have a firm offer in front of you. You shouldn't delay that or potentially hold it off for a what if scenario. So the person I was talking to, they may get that residency offer. They may get another job offer. And guess what? Even if they get a residency interview, they may not even get the actual residency itself. But you've now potentially delayed a current decision or ruined a current decision by something that may or may not never happen. So number one, remember, you oftentimes only have to make one decision at a time. Now, I know you're thinking, well, what happens later on if that person gets another job offer? Then guess what? They have to make another decision at that time once they get more information. So for example, they accept the offer, they go down the process of, onboarding and getting it a part of the company, and they onboard, they start working. And then later on, what happens? They get another job offer. Yeah, that person, you're going to have to then make another decision at that time. And notice it's one decision. And this time, a part of the calculation of what do you do? How do I like the company I'm working for? What is the offer that's in front of me right now? Is it a different company? Is it a different, practice setting? Is it more money? Is it greater benefits? And then you're going to make the best decision for your family. So I know in the back of your mind, well, Dr. George, what does this have to do with burning bridges? This is one of those points where this phrase will come up. Well, I don't want to burn a bridge. I don't want to burn a bridge. Now, what I'll tell you is that you don't burn bridges by making the best decision for you, your family, your career, your life. You don't burn bridges that way. You burn bridges, no one's going to ever fault you for making the best decision for you, your family, your life. That's just not how bridges are burned. Right? Bridges is a two-way street to go from one side to the next. And, you may think, well, people may think I'm a flake, or they may think I'm not committed. Well, again, you're making the best decision for you, your life, your family, your career. And guess what? The person who you work for, I can guarantee you, if they get the opportunity to get promoted or another company, they're making that same decision that you are in this moment. They will take that promotion. They will go on with their lives. They will go to another company probably before you even finish your 90-day onboarding period, if they get the opportunity. So remember, you always got to put yourself in a situation where you're making the best decision for yourself. So now you're thinking, well, Dr. George, how do bridges get burned? Well, the way bridges get burned is through attitudes, behaviors, right? It's if you're a jerk, or it's how you handle yourself in these situations. If you're being callous, if you're being rude, if you're being, if you're being like an unresponsive employee, if you're being a bad human being, that's how you burn bridges. Like I mentioned earlier, no one's going to ever fault you for making the best decision for your family. But guess what? Let me ask you a question. If they do fault you for making the best decision for you, your family, your life, your career, is that really the type of organization or person that you would want to work for? We oftentimes talk about this idea of burning bridges from this perspective of we don't want to burn a bridge. We don't want to burn a bridge. But guess what? People in organizations burn bridges for us all the time. So that actually brings me to the other point of if you are not at the beginning of your career where where you are in the position of, applying for jobs or at the beginning of your career, but you may be in a career transition. Think of it this way. There's a reason that you are transitioning careers. There's a reason that you're transitioning from one company to the next. There's a reason that you may not feel as though you are connected to that organization that you once were before, right? So guess what? I would argue they've already burned the bridge with you. So this isn't a one side, road, right? The bridge you can go both ways on a bridge. You can go cross it and there's someone that can come on the other side, right? So again, sometimes what if the organization burned bridges with you? They don't think twice about not burning a bridge with you. They will downsize. They would potentially make decisions based on budget cuts. They will, hold you accountable as they're transitioning, right? Labor goes away, or they're cutting, the budget cycle or reducing labor, right? They'll make the decision and they don't think twice about burning the bridge with the employee. So what I'll just say is the last point that I have for you guys to remember you're the talent. You're the one who actually makes the job successful. You're the one who brings the art to whatever you're doing. You're the specialist that's on the front line. You're the one who's impacting people, not the C-suite, not the individuals above the front line. You're the one that's making the giant impact. And I just say that not to be braggadocious or not to be arrogant or not to be cocky, but to realize you're part of this employee-employer relationship that is mutually beneficial, and you are not weak or you're not subservient in this relationship. Bridges go both ways. And again, just like you're trying to maintain a bridge, it should be maintained from the other side. Okay. So, you're the talent. You're the one who brings the spark to it. You should be the one walking around with, hey, I have all of this experience. I have this knowledge. I have this talent. Yes, you're building a bridge, but they should be building the bridge with you. Now, what I will tell you is, I've had, several years of opportunity to be the boss, so to speak, and to be somebody who, had the privilege of allowing people to let me lead them. I always try to make the environment to the point where, I know that, you may have to make the best decision for your life, your career, your family, your finances. But guess what? I'm going to create the environment in such a manner that I'm going to cause you to pause. I'm going to cause you to think about the transition. I'll always put it in present. I wanted to treat my team and my individuals that work with me in such a manner that it would be difficult for them to leave me. Now, I understand that people have to make tough decisions, but I wanted to take care of my team in such a manner that I'm going to make it very hard for them to leave in that instance, where they're going to think about, yeah, I might get more money going for that other organization, but hey, you know what? I really like how I'm being developed, how I'm being challenged. Guess what? How I'm being cared for. So what I would say is that if that's not how your organization, how about this? Let me back off. I'm not even going to talk about organization. If the people you work for aren't caring for you in a way that you feel cared about, you feel challenged, you feel supported in what you're doing, I would argue they've already burnt the bridge with you. All right. So, all right, guys, comment below. Let me know if this was helpful. Love you guys as always. Talk to you later.